If you've ever paid the minimum payment on a credit card balance, you've probably already paid for whatever you bought twice. You just don't realize it yet. A $5,000 balance, a $125 minimum payment, feels responsible, right? Here's the actual number nobody puts on your statement. $11,000. That's what that $5,000 costs you, in total, if you only ever pay the minimum, paid out slowly, quietly, over 19 years. And the worst part? The math isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed. I used to look at that minimum payment number and think I was being responsible. I was paying on time, I wasn't missing payments. I thought I was fine. I wasn't fine. I was renting my own debt month after month and barely touching what I actually owed. Nobody explained this to me, so let me explain it to you. When you swipe a credit card, your brain doesn't register it as borrowing money. There's no loan officer, no paperwork, no moment it feels like debt. It just feels like buying something. That psychological gap between what it feels like and what it actually is where the trap starts. But here's what actually does the damage. The minimum payment formula. Card companies calculate your minimum as the larger of two numbers, around 2% of your balance or a flat $25 to $35. They didn't pick that number to help you. They picked it because it's the smallest amount that keeps your account current, while making sure most of what you pay goes to interest, not your actual debt.
Picture your payment as a pie. A huge slice goes to interest. A tiny slice goes to your actual balance, what you call principal. And here's the cruel part. As your balance slowly drops, your minimum payment drops too, which means even less goes toward principal. You are perpetually almost paying it off and never quite getting there. Let's run the actual numbers. $5,000 balance, 22.99% APR. That's close to today's national average. Minimum payments only. Month 1, you pay $125. $96 goes to interest. $29 hits your balance. Year 1, you've paid $1,400. Your balance, still around $4,600. Year 5, you've paid nearly $5,000, and you still owe over $3,000. Year 19, you finally pay it off. Total paid, $11,200. You didn't buy $5,000 worth of stuff. You bought $11,200 worth of stuff, paid out in small, forgettable installments over nearly 2 decades. Now, here's what I find genuinely fascinating, because the math alone doesn't explain this. Smart people fall into this trap. Responsible people fall into this trap. Why? Behavioral economists have a name for it: payment decoupling. When you pay cash, your brain feels the loss immediately. It's painful. It registers as a real cost right then. A credit card severs that connection. The spending happens now, the pain arrives later, disguised as a small, manageable monthly number. Studies show people consistently spend more on a card than with cash for the exact same item because the brain simply isn't billing it as a real loss in the moment.
And then there's anchoring. When the only number shown to you clearly on your statement is the minimum payment, that becomes your mental anchor for what a normal payment looks like. You stop asking, how do I pay this off? You start asking, can I afford this monthly number? Those are completely different questions with completely different, much more expensive answers. $125 doesn't feel like debt. It feels like a subscription. That's not an accident of formatting. That's the entire function of showing you that number prominently, instead of showing you what the balance will actually cost you. Stick with me, because the way out of this is actually simpler than you think, and there's one move in particular that makes your interest rate completely irrelevant. Most cards give you 21 to 25 days after your statement closes before interest kicks in on new purchases. If you pay your full statement balance every single month within that window, you pay zero interest, none. The APR becomes irrelevant. I'll say that one more time because it sounds too simple to be real. Paying in full every month makes your interest rate completely meaningless. If you're carrying a balance and can't pay in full yet, stop using the minimum as your reference point entirely. Even an extra $50 a month on top of your minimum can cut years off your payoff and save you thousands in interest, because that extra $50 goes almost entirely to principal, not interest. If you have balances on more than one card, the math says to attack the highest interest rate first, while paying minimums on everything else. That's the strategy that costs you the least money overall. A lot of people do the opposite. They pay off the smallest balance first because crossing something off feels satisfying. That feeling isn't wrong to want. It's just expensive. Knowing this gives you a choice. Pick your strategy on purpose, instead of drifting into whichever one feels best in the moment.
Real quick, why is 22% even legal? Card companies aren't pulling that number from nowhere. Credit card debt is unsecured. No collateral, no car, no house they can take back if you stop paying. Just your promise to pay. Compare that to a mortgage backed by your house or a car loan backed by the car. Both carry far lower rates because the lender has something to repossess if things go wrong. A credit card has nothing, so the rate reflects that risk. Store cards? Sometimes close to 30%, because they often go to people with thinner credit histories, which is an even higher risk for the issuer. Understanding this doesn't make the rate hurt less, but it does help you see it clearly for what it is. One last thing, and this is the engine running underneath everything we just covered. Compounding. Interest gets charged not just on what you borrowed, but on interest that's already been added to your balance. On a savings account, compounding works for you over time. On a credit card balance, it works against you in exactly the same way, just running in the opposite direction. Every month you don't pay it off, unpaid interest gets folded into next month's balance, and next month's interest gets calculated on that new, larger number. Small effect in 1 month, massive effect over years. Easy to ignore, easy to underestimate, never easy to undo. Go back to that number on your screen. The minimum payment was never designed to get you out of debt. It was designed to keep your account open, keep you compliant, and keep the balance just large enough for just long enough that the interest does the real work.
So next time that number appears on your screen, ask yourself a different question. Not, can I afford this payment? But, is this payment actually shrinking what I owe, or just renting me more time inside the debt? That's the whole trap, and now you can see it. If this reframed the way you look at your own statement, hit subscribe, because this is just one piece of a financial system that was never really explained to you in plain terms. Next up, why your credit score is calculated the way it is, and the specific moves that actually move the number. It's more counterintuitive than you think. See you there.